In the webtoon Lookism, or a gangism at this point, fighting has become an essential part of the story, whether it be to win, to oppose, or to protect something. Fighting is a must in the world of Lookism, and in this time of war and bloodshed, there are those who stand on top, be it through technique, speed, or sheer will and power alone. In this video, we'll be going over some characters who fought their way to the hearts of us readers, and I'll explain their fighting styles, strategies, and methods along the way. But to cut it short, this is Fighting in Lookism Explained. Daniel Park's copy. Probably the most overpowered software in Lookism, Daniel Park's copy ability is so broken, he's able to copy any martial art or fighting style he's experienced, seen, or heard of. In early Lookism, Daniel's ability to copy was very subtle and as well as his strength. In the past, his ability was foreshadowed in both his first and second body, where he copied Zack Lee exclusively. Though his ability was subpar throughout most of the story, the reason for that was his unawareness of his own ability. But by chance, Daniel's limitations was always ignored via blood armor. And where the ignorance of his genius was made up for by having the most perfect body, being able to withstand all sorts of attacks, and having the loss of his new body made up for by being aware of his genius. Now, Daniel Park does not have a specific style or martial art he mains, though he does cycle depending on which would be most optimal for the specific fight he's in, or if he subconsciously wants to pay respects to a fallen friend. Ji-chan. Though what makes Daniel so different from other geniuses like Johan is his Minecraft creative mode, Ultra Instinct, where he basically types creative mode into the chat and basically becomes fucking invincible. Look at all of his abilities here. Truly a terrifying genius. Speaking of geniuses, Johan Seong, one of the confirmed geniuses being fully aware of his ability at a young age, he is definitely one of the most powerful characters with the potential as high as the sky goes. When Johan was introduced, his blind ass was considered a threat to the other three gangs for the past 300 chapters before he got kidnapped. Now, Johan's ability and strength is fucking crazy and he knows it. He was already strong enough having copied Manager Kim's CQC, Taehoon Seong's Taekwondo, Vasco's Muay Thai, Zack Lee's boxing, Jake Kim's MMA, Gun Park's Kyokushin Karate and Destruction Art, and Daniel Park's UI Physicality and Movement. And in the next chapter of Lookism, I'm really excited to see an unhinged Johan Seong fight against either Zack or Daniel. Narratively, I think it's these two because Zack and Johan have a long-running history behind them, and Daniel because it's always fun to see a genius versus a genius. And plus, having Yu Seong added to his copy clipboard makes everything so much more intense. And if he were to ever fight Zack, the unstoppable spirit of Johan clashing with Zack's unbreakable shield is such a godly narrative move of Park Tae-jun to make, which just makes me look forward to everything coming up in the next few chapters of Lookism. Plus, if Johan were to join J-High, I bet he'd get into detention all the time for plagiarism, and Zack would have to bust him out of there, lol. Speaking of Johan's crazy ex-boyfriend, next up is Zack Lee's delusional ass. Zack Lee's primary style throughout all of Lookism is boxing, and in the span of the series, he does switch between variations of it, for example, dirty boxing, and his latest improvement to his fighting style, iron boxing with the speed mastery. The reason for Zack's strength in the past was because of his Delulu ass thinking he was a genius, and in many ways he was, but he wasn't the type of genius he wanted to be. He picked up techniques faster than other people, and knew exactly what to do to get stronger. And his willpower is actually so incredibly respectable, even after knowing he'd lose to Daniel, an actual genius. In the worker's introductory part, Zack got a toxic ass upgrade to his boxing, which I dub the Boxing of Zack's Diffidence, or BZD for short. In this BZD state, Zack accumulates so much self-loathing to the point where not only does it stop being a problem, but it manifests as a source of strength. Do you have any idea how much you have to hate yourself for you to use your nerf as a buff? But in this state, he was able to surprise Mandyok, and in the hunt for Big Deal, Zack came back as an absolute monster with iron boxing as his final style and was finally able to give and take hits from Mandyok. And in the recent chapter, Zack showcases his newfound speed mastery. At first, we all thought that Zack's power-up was just gonna be tanking hits, but according to Gongseop, Zack did what he could not only obtaining super crazy durability, but also the speed able to surpass a zero-gen fodder with ease. Now, Eli Zhang. One of the main forces of J-High, certified Batang Ama, Eli Zhang is Gun's favorite child, having all of the qualities Gun looks for in a crewhead. Tenacity, the demand for respect, and of course, the hungriness for money. Eli Zhang's selected style is actually no style at all. To be more specific, a style with no mold. Essentially, fighting to him isn't to defend or to oppose anyone, it's to survive. Eli Zhang's fighting method stems from his instinct to survive at all costs, and from the start, when he engages in a fight, his morality absolutely disappears, having no regard to what happens to his opponent. He does not care whether he blinds them, cripples them, or dead-ass snaps their neck. Eli's style is the definition of brutal. And further down the line, he gains a new form after training with Tom Lee called Animal Instinct. Now, the buffs of this new form were never expanded upon, but for the sake of simplicity, we'll say it gives him heightened senses, increased strength, speed, and durability. He used this new form to fight an enraged Johan and was actually keeping up with him arguably well, and he wasn't sweating too much. And in the more recent chapters, he's gained mastery after defeating the first generation king of Suwon, Seokdu. Right now, he's the first ever considered second generation king of Hostel. Speaking of Hostel, Hostel's uncle Warren Che is a monster in his own right, and the only anomaly where being a simp actually pays off. 3 years ago, Warren Che's fighting style was very similar to Eli in a way where it was never molded. Well, not intentionally at least. From the beginning, Warren's way of fighting was always to inflict the most amount of pain on his opponent, instinctively hitting the most vital spots like the solar plexus, the temple, the liver and such. And sometime after the events of the 4th affiliate, Warren eventually trains with manager Kim and learns that he always did have a martial art, Jeet Kune Do. And with this knowledge, Warren comes back as an absolute beast, having the ability to use CQC, but only having up to 3 feet of space. But after joining the workers as a director of the 5th affiliate, and guarding some of the first-gen kings, obtaining mastery in the process, he combines his experience-built Jeet Kune Do and his efficiency-based CQC to create a more free-flowing martial art which I will call Che's Close Quarter Combat, or CCQC for short, in which he mixes the unpredictability and the brutality of Jeet Kune Do and the efficiency and speed and lethality of CQC. A notable attack that Warren uses when he's using CCQC is his 1-inch hard punch, in where he unfolds his hand, points it to the opponent's heart, and follows through with an 1-inch punch targeted to the opponent's heart, which induces a heart attack on impact, paralyzing the target, which just negates durability at this point. Warren is an actual beast, and he's actually my favorite character in Lookism. Allied's wildcard, with quite a literal unmeasurable amount of strength. Jae Hong is probably the deadliest person in Allied, holding back until he puts a helmet on his opponent. Now, Jae is a bit more interesting than the others because, unlike most people on this list, he mains 2 martial arts which are Systema and Kali Arnis. With his Systema, he attacks rapidly and quickly, making use of his opponent's micro mistakes and bites like a bear trap in the moment, as we can see here. But we all know that his swift-paced Systema is just an opening act for his real strength. His Sophia taught Kali Arnis, which is a more lethal version of the Philippine art Arnis, in where, according to Sophia, your hands when using Kali Arnis move over at the speed of 200 miles an hour and is a guaranteed kill because she apparently made the art even more deadlier. So Jay arguably being the fastest in Allied will definitely be a sight to see. But what do you guys think? I had a lot of fun recording this video, and let me know if you want a part 2 down in the comments, and with that, yeah, bye.